Welcome to the Environmental Farming Scheme online application for the wider scheme. For the wider scheme, there are a number of steps that are required depending on the options that you choose. You do not have to complete your application in one visit. You can return as often as you like during the application period. If you need help completing your application, you can click on the information icons provided. If you need any further help completing your application, you can contact 0300 200 7848 or you can use the Contact Us for Assistance link at the top of the page. As you progress through the application, there are various error and warning alerts that you may encounter. A red error will prevent you from completing your application. If a red error exists, the field row will be highlighted in pink and a red message will display when you hover over the information icon. An orange warning will allow you to proceed with your application, however further checks may be carried out. If an orange warning exists, you should hover over the information icon for further information. To continue with your application, you should click on the green tab. This is the first page of your EFS application. Here you will find a summary of all your field data. This summary includes the total number of fields that you have, the maximum eligible area of all your fields, the maximum eligible area of the higher scheme, and the maximum eligible area of the wider scheme. You can view a map of your fields by clicking on the highlighted link. Here you will see all your fields highlighted in yellow. You can take a closer look at your fields by clicking on the plus icon at the top left-hand corner of the map. By slowly clicking the zoom, you are allowing the field data to load correctly. You can also explore the map more closely by clicking on the I Want To tab at the top of the map. Here you can find, measure, identify information about certain areas, and print areas. Once you are content, you can select the blue tab to return to your application. We will now look at the wider scheme application. First, you must ensure that you have clicked on the wider scheme tab. Here you will find all the field data that has been pre-populated for the wider scheme. The wider scheme differs from the higher scheme in that you do not have to enter every field in your application. If you wish to view a particular field on the map, simply select your farm survey number and click on the grey View Field Map tab on the right-hand side of your screen. You can click on the map to drag the relevant field into the centre of the screen. Once you are content, you can select the blue tab to return to your application. To proceed with your wider application, you must click on the blue Proceed with Wider tab. The next section of the application is where you will choose your options for your fields. The first table that you see here will begin to populate once you start to choose and save your wider scheme options. This table contains 4 areas: General Wider Scheme, plus 3 standalone options: Woodland, Organic and Traditional Breed. If you click on the information icons, it will give you a brief description as to what these are. And should you need further information, you can click on the link at the top of the page called User Guide. To start choosing your wider options, ensure that the General and Woodland tab is selected. We are only looking at the general options at the minute. Scroll through all your field data to identify the fields that you have selected to be part of the wider scheme. When you have identified your fields, you should now select them individually by clicking on the blue Options and Items tab to the right-hand side of your screen. Here you will be presented with the options that the department has selected for this particular field. The options have been listed in the order that will gain you the most points. Therefore, if you want to maximize your points, you should select the options highest on the list. You will notice as you move through your application that not every option will be available on every field. For example, if a field is not near any waterways, then that field will not have the watercourse and fencing option, and so on. At the top of the screen, you will also see that the MEA has been provided to help you complete your options. And the perimeter of the field has also been provided for your convenience. For this demonstration, you could select agroforestry under the climate focus area. You should enter the relevant number of hectares for this option. This will then open up all the items available to you under this option. When your selections are complete, select Done. You will now notice that the field data has populated with the details you have just entered. These include the option, the focus area, the options and items value, and the calculated score. You will also notice that a yellow message is highlighting your field row. This warning advises that if you establish an EFS option and declare an EFA on this field, then your EFS payment will be reduced. This warning will not prevent you from submitting your application. However, you should be aware that the same area should not be used for both EFA and EFS. You should now click on Save My Changes. You need to do this every time you make a change to your data. It is important that you do so, as you will not be allowed to proceed with submitting your application if you do not. You will also notice at the top of the page that there is a red error message. To get more information on this error, you should click on the information icon. On this occasion, this red error message is advising that you have not met the minimum agreement value of £2,500 over the duration of the agreement. The minimum amount payable is £2,500 and the maximum amount payable depends on the number of hectares that you have. For EFS wider agreements, if you have less than 25 hectares, then the maximum is £12,500. For EFS wider agreements greater than 25 hectares, this maximum limit is increased by £26.67 per hectare up to a maximum of £20,000. Therefore, this error message is advising that you need to return to your application and select further options to increase the total of your application to above the minimum level. Having returned to your field data, you should select the field that you need to add a further option to. The list of options will show again, and you should choose the option and complete the information as before. And when you are content, you should select Done. And as with any changes you make to your claim, you should select Save My Changes. You will notice a grey tab flash at the top right of the screen advising that your changes have been saved successfully. Your summary is now free of error messages, as your selections have increased the total value of your application over the minimum value. Once you are content that you have selected all your options for the wider scheme and saved your changes, of course, you should now select Next. You are now at the summary and confirmation screen. You can submit your application at this point. However, before you submit your application, you need to agree to the declarations. To read the declarations, click on the highlighted link. These declarations are to confirm that you have read the scheme literature, that you fully understand the commitment you are undertaking, that all information is true and correct to the best of your knowledge, that environmental funding is not already being received on these fields, and that you have management control of these fields. And if you are content, you should tick that you have read and agree to the declarations, and then submit your application. Your application has been submitted successfully. You will receive a confirmation email shortly. Just to recap, if you require help or assistance, you can click on the information icons throughout the application, telephone 0300 200 7848, use the Contact Us for Assistance link at the top of the page, or use the Chat with Us link.